Hey everyone, so in today's video I wanted to talk about how you can take care of yourself if you're someone who's grieving. And if you'd like to hear me talk more in depth about this topic, about the stages of grief, what grief is and how to grieve, also how grief can apply to your life in several different ways, whether you've lost someone, a relationship, or maybe you're moving, or you've changed careers, check out the description bar because I actually uploaded a podcast and also a transcript of that podcast over on my blog, so you might find that helpful as well. So again, it'll be down below in the description bar. But for this video, I've made a self-care checklist if you are someone who's grieving. And I just have 3 things that I'm talking about. And I really think grief is one of the most painful experiences someone can go through. And I think if you are someone who is grieving, you really need to take time to take care of yourself. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is to definitely reach out to someone, talk to someone. Because if you are someone who's grieving, you don't have to go through this alone. Even though you may really enjoy some alone time, you might really need some alone time, I think you need to also be able to talk to someone because that could really be helpful to you. It could be a friend, a relative, it could be several people, it could also be a therapist. And I'm definitely going to advocate therapy because a therapist can talk to you in a way no one else will be able to. They are mental health professionals, so they're going to know how to talk to you. And it's also okay to not stick with the first therapist that you meet if you're new to therapy. But I think the main important thing for when you're talking to a therapist is you need to be able to find someone who you feel comfortable with, that you can open up to. But a good therapist isn't going to judge you. A good therapist isn't going to belittle you. A good therapist can really help you go through the grieving process. Another thing which I mentioned before is just giving yourself some time. And I talk about this more in my podcast, but grief isn't this process where you just go through stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're done. You're not going to just feel anger and then be done feeling anger. You're not just going to feel sadness and then, oh, that's it for sadness. Grief, I think, has many stages, and not everybody goes through all the various different grief stages. I kind of tend to think of working through grief as like a tidal wave, as if you're kind of standing in the ocean and everything's fine, and you can feel the fresh air and you can just feel the sunlight on your skin, and you might have good memories of someone or something. Or maybe you've just lost a pet. You might have those great warm feelings, and then all of a sudden you're going to get swept under by a lot of sadness because this is a very sad time in your life, is not having that person or not having that pet. Or maybe you lost a job, or maybe you've moved. Things just aren't how they were, and it can be incredibly painful and challenging to keep living. But you have to give yourself some time because things can start to get better. As much as you may not want to hear that, as much as that might seem completely impossible, I'm someone who lost my dad when I was 22, and I also have lost my uncle, and most recently I lost my aunt. And my aunt actually passed away this last October, and even just the other day, I was just washing the dishes and I just started crying because I started thinking about my aunt and I started missing her. So give yourself some time because you're gonna feel it all. And I think that's the most courageous thing you can do at this time, is just letting yourself feel everything, as painful as that can be. When I try to stop feeling feelings, they tend to come back like even stronger. So I think it's best to be able to talk to someone, be able to express yourself. And that's the next thing that I'm going to talk about, is being able to express yourself any way that you can that's creative, that might just be helpful to you if you're experiencing someone else's creativeness. Like if you're watching a movie that you love that really touches you, or moves you, I guess, or if you're listening to music that you really love, maybe you're listening to some music that makes you angry and that might be helpful for you right now. Or maybe you're watching a really, really sad, depressing movie and that might really help you right now. Maybe you need to write about what you're feeling. Maybe you need to paint or play music yourself, or anything creative, I think, can be so helpful. So those are the 3 things that I really wanted to hit in this video, which is if you're grieving, you can talk to someone. I actually remember a friend who lost someone, and they were upset because no one in their life would talk to them about this person who died in their life. And this person was really upset by that, was nobody was asking him if he was okay, nobody was asking about this person who died. So I think part of this too is just being able to talk to someone about that person, or about that job, or about that pet, because that person had so much importance in your life. That person meant everything to you, probably. You might feel incredibly lost knowing that that person is gone. And being able to talk to someone about all of this, all of what you're thinking and you're feeling, that can be so helpful for your life. Also, giving yourself plenty of time because people grieve differently. And this might be a huge change for you. So you might be processing this for the rest of your life. And then finding ways to express yourself in a positive way, in a caring way, in a self-care way, and a creative way if you want to. But definitely check out the links below because I have, again, my podcast and blog. And I think for these types of videos going forward, I'm going to make shorter videos and I'm going to expand more over on my podcast just because I feel like I can fit so much more into a podcast rather than a video. At least this is the way I'd rather be doing it going forward. But I hope you guys found this video helpful and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye.